Greetings and welcome to Scam Takedown Task Force, a channel dedicated to finding scams online and taking them down. I'm your CEO, Dan, and today we're going to talk about dropshippers. Now, before I begin, I'd like to know if any of you guys have ever purchased anything from a dropshipper, or if you're a dropshipper yourself. Let me know down in the comments. Dropshipping is where a storefront acts as a middleman between a manufacturer and the customer. In a typical store, what happens is the store buys a product from the manufacturer. The manufacturer then ships it to the store or the store's warehouse so that it can be put into inventory. When a customer buys something, it's shipped directly from the store or you bought it off the shelf. In a dropshipping store, what happens is when you place an order, your order is sent to the manufacturer along with your address. When the manufacturer finishes producing whatever the item is, they ship it directly to the customer, skipping the store entirely. Doing this allows them to free up a lot of capital as they don't have to keep hold of any inventory, and in a typical store, that is one of the largest costs. It also means they don't have to worry about the logistics side. Everything's handled by the manufacturer. It removes the risk of them producing something that isn't selling well, because if no one buys it, it's never produced, it doesn't cost them any money. But one of the biggest complaints that you will receive from a dropshipping store is quality. That's because a dropshipper never actually receives the items to do a final quality check. The item's produced and it's shipped straight to you. One of the reasons why the dropshippers hardly ever receive the products themselves is because it would take a lot of time for them to have it shipped to them and then from them to ship it to you. The additional shipping fees would also eat into their profits, and in a competitive market like dropshipping, that can really hurt them. So what does that mean for the customer? You. Well, when the box shows up and it's torn apart or there's a giant hole in the shirt, you're probably the first person to have seen it since it was produced. It also means that the store has no control over how long it takes to get to you. They don't control any of the shipping process in some cases. Time for a refund. Just like a normal store, they're required to give you a refund, right? Well, no, there's actually no laws in the US that say that any store has to provide a refund. But the good news is that most dropshippers actually do have a refund policy. They often require the product to be unused in the original packaging and shipped back within 14 days or 2 weeks. Some of them even require for you to pay the shipping fee with no refund. This is a tactic used to dissuade you from wanting to get a refund in the first place. Not to mention all of the places that might send you through a loop of emails and through phone or a messenger on one of the social media platforms, only to kind of be run through the loop and not get anywhere. Some of them, when you contact them, they'll have you take a couple pictures and tell you to go ahead and keep the product because shipping it back to them would just cost money and they're just going to throw it in the trash anyways. Speaking of shipping, you may notice that your drop shippers can have really long lead times or times to your house. In a typical order, you might see at worst maybe a week if it's shipping anywhere from the US. However, some of these shipments are up to a month or even longer. Now, in some cases, that makes sense. When you're making a custom product or you're making a lot of something, it might take a long time to get to you. But most of them are getting stuck in customs from shipping overseas. Most of your dropshippers have manufacturers located in China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. These countries produce things in mass, like t-shirts and mugs and hats, and all for really cheap. Some of these manufacturers even have systems set up in order to help the dropshippers through the process. So does that mean that all dropshippers are bad? Not exactly. There are a lot of bad apples out there that use this dropshipping format in order to front their scams. These types of sites tick a lot of boxes on my scam website scorecard. But there are legitimate sites out there that offer quality products. Businesses that stand out excel at making their brand known, items unique, and their presence professional. The problem is there are a lot of scam sites out there that like to take the hard work of these professional websites and paste them onto their own. Word for word description copies, or even stealing the pictures that they use to make their professional site. That can make it difficult to tell the difference between the actual site and one of the hundreds of scammers. Copying a legitimate website gives visitors a sense of security, but if you look closely, you can often find little mistakes that make the scam website stand out. I've made an entire video on how I identify fake websites. I'll link that down in the description below. Definitely go check that out. So what does this mean? Does it mean that all dropshippers are scams? No. What I'm saying is that you should always be careful when you're shopping online. There are legitimate people out there who are trying to make a living and trying something new, but there are also lots of people who want to steal from you. Online, it's important to always keep your eyes open. More scam websites are created every month, and with the virus crippling everything, it's really hard to do something about it. So it's important, if your gut tells you something's wrong, trust it. Always ask questions. If a dropshipper really wants to excel, they'll do everything in their power to rise up above the rest, especially when the rest are scams. I hope you learned something from this video, and if you did, please hit the like button. I would also really love it if you joined the task force and hit subscribe. I'm on Facebook and Twitter. The links for those are down in the description, along with the website that I'm creating in order to catalog all of these scams that I found on social media platforms. You guys can go to that website as well and submit anything you believe to be a scam to be reviewed, and if I do believe it's a scam, it will show up on our list. Together we can report these and get them taken down, because Facebook and the other platforms are refusing to do anything currently. It'll take a team in order to do this, and that's why I'm depending on you guys to help me out. Until next time, I've been your CEO Dan, dismissed.